all day, but unless one of us dies because our blood sugar plummeted, it's not going to happen. So you have to have motion. But I just said the first guy who moves is dead, effectively. So how do we do it? The answer is you sucker them. You play games with them. You do the old trick of, okay, here's my perfect guard. I'm a little lazy. I just offered you a target. You're probably not going to shoot at the head because my hand is still here. You're probably not going to shoot at my chest because this is available and obviously open. It's stupid to shoot at my leg. So you're going to take this shot. And when I present that shot, I'm giving you this invitation to come in. I am creating a tempo and saying, go ahead, take your best shot. And I've only really offered you one target. Now I have created this tempo to entice you to create a tempo of your own. Well, now you've created a tempo that I can take advantage of. Now you can do this stupid by like, yep, there's tempo, damn it. Or you can do it in a calculated manner where you offer a target that you know that you can defend. And that's a counter tempo. It is a counterattack. You offer a vulnerability, you wait for them to take that vulnerability, and then you counterattack. It's a bad idea for your, initial offering to be, I'm wide open, unless you got a hell of a plan. But you want to give that opportunity. So if you find yourself in a staring contest, say, okay, what can I offer that will entice them in such a way that they're going to come down the corridor that I have prescribed into the trap that I have set? And you really ought to have a really good plan for that, and a backup plan, and a runaway plan. And if you've got all those, you're safe. Now, that's all well and good. You've got your various ways of talking about tempos, your mezzo, your stesso, your blah, blah, blah. The way it comes into here is that you can use those tempos as a range game. The really best way as a shorter armed fighter that you can cause your opponent to create a tempo is to stand right here. Because a long-armed fencer is going to take a little step to put you right here. They have created a tempo. You offered a tempo by stepping just outside their range. They create a tempo by stepping a little bit closer. And while they are in motion, you can continue your step through and land inside the butter zone. Land in the area where all things are equal except for short-armed guys with little tiny stiff swords have a slight advantage. If your opponent doesn't fall for that, you can even be so bold as to step in to the death zone. Now don't live there, don't stay there. But the nice thing is, if this is a perfect guard, and this is a perfect guard, and this is a screwed up imperfect guard, well, this is a perfect guard, and this is a perfect guard with very little breaking of the guard. If you keep your feet under you, you can present this as an option without breaking what your torso is doing. And you can step in without screwing your guard up too much. You've gone from 100% readiness to 95% readiness. You haven't given too much up to step boldly into this zone. At which point, I almost guarantee you any tall, long-armed, lanky fencer out there is going to take a shot because you just walked into their wheelhouse. And they're more than happy to take that shot. And if you've done it right, if you say, you know what, as I take this step forward, my head's a little open, isn't it? All right, I'm a little wide on my guard. I'm going to step into your wheelhouse, knowing the shot is coming somewhere in this area right here. It's got to. There's no other good shot to take. And if you do that and you've got your brain set on a trigger, you say, okay, and the minute it comes towards my face, okay, we're good. All right, you're dead. I stepped into your wheelhouse, you took it. Now, if you step in there and they don't take it, back right back out. Because if you stay there too long, they'll figure out a way to make you dead. And they'll start thinking about that nice, clean opening and how inviting it is and how it's obviously a trap, and they won't throw for it. They'll like go for your leading toe or something. Don't live there. Back out again, move around, let them think, and step back in. And if they continue to not respond, well, hell with it, just keep on coming. Place yourself in this zone, creep up on them. lie about how much arm length you actually have. And come on in with your sword a little bit retracted until you're close enough to actually enter them on a fight on somewhat equal or even advantageous ground. That's where you want, that's the whole idea, is to pass through the death zone. Now, tall folks have another advantage that I call the pause button. This gets back into that whole train going 30 miles an hour this way, or ship going, 6 knots that way, or what package, gets to Topeka when. If the bodies are in motion but are still relative to each other, then no motion is occurring. If you step into this zone and continue to attempt to advance, and I simply back up at the exact same rate that you are advancing, then we are stationary relative to each other, and I can continue to fight you in this zone right here. And as long as my speed and your speed are matched, I've got you on pause. You are not advancing. You could be running towards me at a dead sprint, but if I'm going backwards just as fast, we're standing still. And if we're standing still, I can play the range game on you because you can't reach me. My favorite thing as a tall guy in this instance is I will give anybody one step back. They will come in on the advance, I will fade my foot back, I will stay at the exact distance where they're in that butter zone, and I will very calmly take their sword offline, and then I will stop. And when I stop and lean slightly forward, I have gone from we're still relative to each other, we're motionless, we're motionless, we're motionless, fast forward. Because their brain has locked into the fact, even if their conscious state hasn't, that they're not moving relative to me. So when I suddenly stop my retreat and lean forward just a little bit, they have no reaction time to counter it. And I call it putting the pause button on people. You're coming in, pause. We're just going to fight here for a while until I have the advantage and you can't get any closer. Bang. I decided to hit play. Now, for the short fencer, it's real easy. Don't let them do it. If you start moving in and you realize that no matter how much you're moving forward, you're not gaining ground, stop. It doesn't work if the tall guy has to come forward. Don't chase tall fencers. I love it when people chase me. I'm not a big running backwards guy. I actually hate people who run backwards. If you are going to use parry number 9 all the time, if you're going to cops traverse your butt out of the list, don't bring this. It slows you down. Just run away. Leave this stuff off to the side. You can run faster without it. But everybody, if they're willing to follow me, gets that one step, because that allows me. But once they've taken that one step, if they're smart enough to back out, well, I've borrowed time. I have literally taken time out of the bank. I have traded distance for time, and I need to get my time back. So if I have taken that step and that stop and have not killed them, remember, this is not measured in distance. This is measured in time, and I need to get my time back. And that means that I have to advance to get my time back. Otherwise, I'm going to run out of time when my butt hits the list rope. And you do that too many times, and in my opinion, you retired from the field. I've won. Have a good day. So it's also really, really bad for war if the only thing you know how to do is run backwards. So don't do it. But always have that ability. I said that there is something that people call a tempo of stillness. Here's the problem. They're wrong, but they're also right. It's one of those problems you run into where the metaphysics start to take over the reality, and you end up arguing about things that don't really exist. Here's what it comes down to, and it's one of my favorite shots. A tempo is created anytime there is an action within measure. Not a motion, an action. Now, my favorite is what I refer to, my favorite example, doesn't work as well in real life, but it's a great example, is what I call the dirty joke counter-tempo attack. You and I are squared off. We're kind of near here. You know, I can reach you, but you can probably reach me. We're not really in any advantageous position. Maybe our arms are the same length. and neither one of us is moving. And I look at you dead in the eye and